Hi again, all my crafty friends. If you are new here, I'm Dawn, and you have found Designs by Gaddis. If you enjoy DIYs, flips, and everything farmhouse, you are in the right place. On my channel, I love bringing you fun, simple, and affordable home decor DIYs on a budget. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And if you like what you see, hit the bell notification and leave me a comment. Now for our first DIY. I picked up this large wine jug on one of my yard sale adventures in May. I knew I could use it, but I wasn't sure what exactly I wanted to do with it. And then it hit me. Paint it and distress it. I washed the jug out and dried it off. I first added a layer of Waverly plaster chalk paint and dried it with my hot air gun. Let me know in the comments if you ever start a project with one thing in mind and by the time you're done, it's something totally different. Well, that's what happened with this project. I liked it being white, but I wanted to add more texture. I added the plaster paint to a bowl and then poured in baking soda and stirred it well. I started applying the mixture with a stencil brush. It gave me texture, but it wasn't exactly what I was wanting. So I changed to a chippy brush. I applied the white mixture to the entire jug all the way to the bottom. I also painted the inside of the jug with this texture. You can really see the texture showing up. I was afraid it wouldn't show that well in the camera. I decided to give it an ombre effect and a different texture for the next layer. I poured salt into the bowl with what was left of the plaster mixture and added Waverly mineral paint. I continued adding the paint until I liked the consistency. It was thicker than the first layer I had put on. I applied this layer from below the top part of the jug all the way to the bottom. Next, I added some Waverly ink, which is just black paint, to the mixture and stirred it until I had a darker gray color. I applied this layer from about halfway down the jug all the way to the bottom. You can see here the ombre effect on the jug and all the beautiful texture. I let the jug dry for a couple of hours. I wanted to distress it so the texture would really show. I first used some Americana antiquing wax and the dry brush method. I very lightly covered the jug with the wax. Next, I used the dry brush method again, using more of the Waverly plaster paint. Now I was really starting to fall in love with this piece. Just look at all the color and texture on the glass wine jug. I even decided to try to play some music on it. I got this board a while back in a Facebook Marketplace craft bundle I purchased. It actually got shoved to the bottom of a box, and that's the only reason I haven't used it before now. It was a gray stain, and I wanted a white color, so I used my trusty Waverly Wax plaster chalk paint and painted my masterpiece. I am just about out of this paint, so I think it's time to get some more. I was actually having to pull paint out of the bottom of this bottle. After the paint was dry, I used a Dollar Tree emery board to distress the sign. I used it around the edges and in the creases of the board. I then used a Dollar Tree sanding block over the entire piece. I cleaned the wood with rubbing alcohol and a paper towel to remove all the sand dust. I use rubbing alcohol because it evaporates quickly, which means I don't have to wait for it to dry like I would if I used a wet wipe or water. I used my Cricut and sized this free cut file from Design Bundles to fit on the wood piece. I removed the vinyl from the transfer tape and applied it to the sign. I used a Dollar Tree scoring tool to make sure the design actually went down into the lines on the wood by simply rubbing the vinyl down with the scoring tool. Next, I used my iron to set the vinyl. I have had a lot of questions about this. I use Oracle 651 permanent vinyl, and I do this to give my signs more of a hand-painted look. The heat helps the vinyl to melt into all the cracks and crevices of the wood. You just have to be careful not to get the vinyl too hot, or it will melt and stick to the cloth, and in some cases even pull up from your project. I never leave my iron in the same spot, and I don't let the vinyl get too hot. I check the vinyl constantly while I do this. This step is not required, it's just something I like to do when I put vinyl on wood or really anything that has a texture. I flipped the sign over and added some twine to the back so it could be hung up. I thought the sign still needed something, so I decided to try a messy bow. If you have been following any amount of time, you know I can't make a decent bow to save my life. I've been watching videos and doing them on the side so no one can see how bad I really am at them. But I think I have the messy bow down well enough to try it on camera. Once I had the bow created, I attached it to the wood with hot glue. And just look at how adorable this hen house sign turned out. Let me know in the comments what you think of my bow. I'm so proud of how it turned out. It actually looked good. I found this beautiful stained glass window in Ackworth, Georgia when I went to a yard sale the first week of May. I paid $5 for it. I actually got 4 of these windows. They all came out of a house that was built in the 1930s. The guy showed them to me. He didn't even have them out for sale and let me buy them from him. I loved the design and knew I could do so much with these windows. For this window, I decided I wanted to hang it in the large picture window in my living room. The first thing I did was clean the glass off with some window cleaner. I just wanted to see the beauty without all the dust and dirt. I could see some of the original stain showing through, so I took my razor blade, a knife, and whatever else I thought I could use and started removing some of the paint. It had a dark, rich brown stain on it. I loved the stain on this window and wanted to try to get it cleaned down to the original color. I know I'm usually trying to make new stuff look old, but this window deserves to be restored to its original beauty. I decided to take the window outside and try to remove the paint with a sander. And guys, I'm sorry about the angle, but this was the only possible way for me to set up my camera. I went to 2 large yard sales the first 2 weeks of May, and my porch is full of all these amazing things that I can do projects with. So if you enjoy farmhouse and rehabbing videos, be sure you subscribe to my channel because I have a ton of them coming up. I used 220 grit sandpaper and began sanding the window frame. I actually wound up running to the hardware store and picking up some 80 grit sandpaper, and that worked so much better. I started out with the 220 because I just didn't want to have to run to the store, but if I wouldn't have gotten the lower grit sandpaper, I may still be sanding on this window. If you like farmhouse decor and DIYs, go ahead and hit the subscribe button now. And if you hit the bell notification, YouTube will notify you when I upload a new video. Once I was finished with the major part of the sanding, I brought the window back inside so I could work on it. While I was sanding with my orbital sander, some of the lead filler came loose. I guess that's what you'd call it. I don't know. It was the black stuff under the actual lead on top. I used my razor blade to get it out and to remove some of the paint I couldn't get off the window with the sander. I used clear hot glue and applied it where the black stuff had came out. I didn't want to take a chance of anything falling out of this beautiful window. And guys, please excuse my voice. My allergies are about to drive me insane. My voice is just, it's terrible, I know. But back to what I was saying. Since I'll be using this window inside, I figured hot glue would be fine enough. I applied a thin layer around the area and held the glass up with my hand on the other side. And then used my razor blade to remove the excess glue. Oh, and by the way, this is the back of the window that I'm working on right now. All I did on it was remove the peeling paint just in case I decided I wanted a different look. Next, I flipped the window over and began working on the other side. I wound up having to remove everything down to the original wood. I used some antiquing wax and painted the entire window frame and rubbed it off with a paper towel. I also used the wax on the paint I couldn't get off the window. This darkened it up and made it look so much better. And just look at how beautiful this window turned out. I am so in love with it. I ran to the local hardware store this morning and picked up 4 large hooks, 2 for the window and 2 for the window I will be hanging it from, or in front of. I also picked up 5 feet of chain so I could double it up for a little extra protection. I found a drill bit about the size of the hook and attempted to drill holes where I wanted the hooks to go. Oh, but wait, I need a battery for the drill to work. I actually sat there thinking, oh great, now the screw gun isn't working. And then I noticed I didn't put a battery in it. Now with the battery, I drilled the first hole and screwed in the hook. I did the same thing on this other side of the window. And just look how beautiful the stained glass window looks hanging in my front window. I think it's so beautiful. Let me know in the comments how you like this window and if you would have hung it the same way I did or if you would have used the other side with the white chipping paint. If you haven't already, go ahead and like this video and subscribe to my channel. I upload weekly home decor DIY videos and you know you don't want to miss any of them. So go ahead and hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when I upload a new video. Until next time, happy crafting!